Hey everybody, I'm Harrison. I'm the founder of the Fractional Incubator. We help corporate executives build fractional practices based on their expertise and the experience that they've spent their decades-long careers building. And we've helped hundreds of members land millions of dollars worth of fractional deals since we launched 2 years ago. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a few of the go-to-market vectors that we help our members use to go to market and secure fractional roles. And these roles, mind you, so that we all know what we're talking about here, can pay anywhere from $5,000 up to $30,000 plus per month and a handful of hours per week, depending on your background and the size of the problems that you're solving at the companies you're helping. So first, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through this fundamental shift that you need to make from the approach that you've always taken to secure W-2 full-time type roles and the new approach that you need to take to secure fractional roles in today's market. And which, as an aside, the strategies I'm sharing are also what works best to secure W-2 full-time roles in today's market anyway. So do with that what you will. And then I'm going to share a handful of our go-to-market vectors with you and explain how they work. Sound good? So first, let's quickly talk about this fundamental shift. The fundamental shifts, there's multiple of them that you need to make in order to actually build this kind of practice and this fractional portfolio that we talk about in the first place. So there are a few big things that you need to install as mental models when you're doing this. And first, the first one we'll talk about is the way that you behave and present yourself is completely different than how you behaved and presented yourself when you were applying for jobs the traditional way. And we go in depth with this one inside the incubator, but to put it bluntly and to put it briefly, if you act like a job hopeful, you're going to get treated like a job hopeful. But if you act like an expert, well, then you get treated like an expert. And your whole practice hinges on you being able to present and to perform as an expert. That's why they hire you in the first place. So that's shift number one. Shift number two, and I've got a nice example to prove this one out too for you. So no matter which of our vectors we're using, you need to be 100% laser focused on outcomes, on the measurable results that you're bringing to the company, not on the actual work that you're doing to get them those results. It's really important. So if you focus too much on the work, on the how the work that you're going to perform, then two really bad things happen for you. First, the founder or the CEO or whoever you're talking to, they're going to lump you in as an individual contributor, as an employee. And you're going to get treated and judged like a prospective employee, which means you're forfeiting your main advantage to actually get the deal done in the first place, which is your authority and your expertise and your positioning as somebody who knows more than the person that you're talking to. That's the problem number one. And problem number two, if you focus too much on the how and not on the what you're actually delivering, the outcomes that you're delivering, then you are severely discounting what your ultimate fee structure will be in the engagement, because people have this natural bias, this natural tendency to discount the how while overvaluing the what, aka the outcome. And I can prove it to you with an example. So imagine your toilet's been running for weeks, and one day it's running so bad it starts flooding your bathroom. And you're not a plumber, just like me, I'm not a plumber. You don't know anything about plumbing. So you call a plumber, and he drops everything he's doing, and he rushes over to your house. And he goes straight back to the bathroom, and he comes out a few minutes later, and the toilet is fixed. It's good as new. And he says, hey, your toilet's all fixed now. It's not going to run anymore. It's not going to flood your house. That'd be $300, which at that point you would happily pay because you got the outcome that you wanted, which is a fixed toilet, and you're thrilled. But imagine if instead he came out of the bathroom and said, hey, all I had to do was I just had to turn a wrench one time. I turned a wrench, I put it on there, I turned it one time. That was all I did. It took 5 seconds. That'll be $300. Well, that $300 hits different than the first $300. The same outcome, but what he talked about changed. All of a sudden, you look at that $300 that you're paying him differently. $300 for a fixed toilet that's not going to flood your house is totally reasonable, but $300 to turn a wrench one time? Well, now all of a sudden you're questioning the value. Because when you focus on the how, people immediately forget the outcome and they start pegging their perceived value of what you've done incorrectly and unfairly. And you, as the service provider, are going to pay the price for that. All right? Final mindset shift thing that you need to make. You need to be constantly scanning and proactively looking for opportunities in the businesses that you speak with. They are not going to come perfectly wrapped up in a nice gift box for you. And you can't make the business owner do the work of wrapping them up in a nice gift box for you either. The whole reason they're going to pay you in the first place is because you do two things for them. The first thing you do for them is you increase their net income. You increase the profitability of their company. And the second reason they're going to pay you is because you decrease their net complexity in their business day to day. But if you waltz in there and you say, hey, what do you got for me? What can I do for you? Well, you're putting a ton of cognitive burden, a ton of cognitive load on them, which means you're automatically increasing their net complexity day to day. But if instead you do what we teach and you ask smart questions about their business and you let them react and you listen intently for expensive bottlenecks that you can fix, and then you package those fixes around the outcomes that they'll drive for their business, if you do that, you're lessening their cognitive load. They see you as somebody who creates less work, not more work. And when you do it like that, that's where people can't wait to line up and pay you month after month your retainer. All right, so let's go through, that's a few of the shifts you need to make. Let's go through now a few of our go-to-market vectors. So this list is not exhaustive. And since we have scores of active members at any given time, we are constantly testing new ways to go to market. So this list is also dynamic and subject to change when we have new tactics that work. But this gives you a sense of what you'll learn inside the incubator and the depth of the work that we're doing on your behalf. And real quick, just in case anyone's not clear, I'll define what we mean, what we're even talking about here when we talk about vectors. So think about each vector as a reason someone will talk to you in the first place. Vector just equals a reason for someone to talk to you in the first place, because we have to have a reason for them to want to get on the call or have the meeting with you. And we've tested these like crazy. We've tried dozens and dozens that didn't make the cut. And what we're giving you are the most painful, burning reasons that a CEO or a founder or a business owner will agree to meet with you in the first place. And for all of these, we're using these on cold traffic. So what does that mean for you when you're in the incubator? It means we're finding the prospects for you. They're not people that you already know. We write your outreach scripting for you. We write your follow-up messaging for you. We automate all of the sending of this stuff for you. We script your calls for you. We create your proposals for you with your input. And it's all based on our data over years of doing this on what makes deals most likely to close. And these vectors that we're about to talk about are what we use to determine which messaging and which scripting to use for which prospects based on the intel that we've gathered about them. You with me on that? Okay, so here are a few of them. Here are a few of the vectors that you're going to learn. First, we call show and tell. The show and tell vector. And the reason this one works is it hinges on your authority and specifically on your experience. So what we're doing with the show and tell is we're making an educated guess as to the biggest bottleneck that this business is currently facing based on market intel and based on lookalike prospects. And we're offering to show them how you fixed that before in your career. And the reason this works, again, is I'm not going to give away the exact scripting for the message. Sorry if that's what you were expecting. Not going to do that. But the reason it works is because you're showing you understand their problems. You're pointing to the fact that you can solve those problems in your sleep, and you're pointing to the financial upside that you've driven when you've solved these problems before in the past, and then you're offering in a low commitment way to just show them your process. Show and tell. And those four things together are really, really powerful for a prospect, and their curiosity is what gets them interested enough to meet with you. And at that point, you're almost halfway home if you run the meeting the way that we tell you to a T. Okay? Next vector, FECTO, which stands for front-end cold traffic offer. Front-end cold traffic offer, FECTO, which means some type of valuable work that you immediately offer to handle for the prospect. And the reason this one works is it positions you as a source of relief at a pressure point for the business. So remember a minute ago when I said you have to reduce operational complexity day to day to get a yes on these deals? This one leans heavily into that. And we work with you to identify what piece of valuable work is relevant for you and your expertise and your experience level. But whatever it is, it shouldn't take you more than a few hours. It should have an outsized value to the company, and it should be something that they know they should be doing, but either they're not doing or they're doing it poorly. So like we have a few just examples. We have a few HR fractionals that we work with. So offering to create an employee handbook. always works great is Effecto. For CFOs or procurement people offering to renegotiate with vendors works well as Effecto. That kind of stuff. And when you're in the door with your front-end cold traffic offer and you deliver that to them and they're like, hey, this person is really helpful. He reduced my complexity and this is profitable for the business. Well, then you have the green light to upsell them into more robust retained services, which we also help you do. Okay. Our third vector that we're going to talk about today, we call competitor bait. Competitor bait. And what you're doing here is with our help, you're mapping industry average benchmark metrics relevant for your function. And you're offering to share that with your prospects. So I won't give too much away about how you do this and how you actually propose this to prospects. But of course, this works because people want to know how their business stacks up relative to their competitors. And they're willing to meet with someone who can shed light on that. All right, the last vector that we'll talk about today, the last one we'll talk about is we call W-2 interception. And here what we're doing is we're collecting job listings where a company thinks they need a W-2 exec or some senior W-2. And we're offering them your services, who you are typically going to be someone who's more experienced than who they're currently interviewing. And we're offering you at a rate that comes in under what they've already budgeted for the role. Pretty smart. And this works for what I think are obvious reasons. Again, we're finding these prospects for you. We're divvying them up based on which vector they'll be most responsive to. And then we're writing the scripting for you. We're automating it for you. We're writing your follow-ups and your call scripting and your proposals for you. So you just show up, you run the playbook, and you work the deals with us in your ear the whole time. So those are some of our vectors. And this is just scratching the surface on what you're going to get when you join us inside the incubator. And I want to say a real quick word on how our approach is different from what you might think you need to do to sign these types of engagements. Most people that I talk with who aren't working with us think that the way to get fractional engagements is through some combination of endless networking meetups while also posting tons of content every single day on LinkedIn, while constantly tinkering with their website, hoping that people will magically find them through some SEO magic, while sending thousands of cold messages to strangers offering like a coffee chat or asking to pick their brain or whatever other nonsense people are telling you to try out there. When the reality is, what actually works is what we do. If you notice what we've done here, you pick a handful of immediately beneficial activities that solve real established problems in businesses. That's what these vectors represent. And then once you have those, you simply offer to do those activities. And in the incubator, you just show up, you plug in our vectors, and you message us when somebody responds, and that's really it. That's the day-to-day, that's your day-to-day burden, that's what you're doing. So remember, you're selling outcomes, you're not selling work. That's the primary difference between applying for jobs and offering fractional help. You're selling outcomes, you're selling money at a discount. You are an expert with immediate value to offer, and you're not an employee hoping for an interview. All right. So thanks for watching this. I hope it's been valuable, and I will see you inside the incubator.